Welcome back to the Bears Baseball Network. We have a great episode here today. Another rainout. It's been very, very unlucky with the rainouts so far this year. But we got a fun episode today. We ranked the top 50 youth hitters in the Bears. So 14U, 11U to 14U. We each made our own list. The criteria I gave these guys is don't rank them on their previous 100 at-bats, on the next 100 at-bats. What do you think they're going to be 100 at-bats from now? So, a very opinionated list, very subjective. We got three very different lists. I wanted three very different lists. But the one thing that is the same is the top three. Not in the same order. All three of us had a different order for the top three, but we all three agree the top three players in the Bears right now, the top three youth hitters, are Harrison Bladebaum, Rudy Montenegro Langley, and Nick Byrne. All three of us had a different order for those three players. But KJ, I think it's pretty obvious to me these three are in a league of their own. I think when you look at Harrison Bladebaum, the numbers he's put up for really the last 3 years, what Rudy Montenegro Langley did last year and this offseason, and Nick Byrne has had a very long track record, just watching the ball come off his bat. These three are completely built differently, KJ, at this point in time. What do you think about our top three? Again, Harrison, Rudy, and Nick, all three of us a different order, but I think these are our easy top three.
Yeah, I think these are three guys that if you were to ask me at any given time during the year who's number one, might give you a different answer every single time. I mean, these are three guys that can fluctuate in that one spot. Three guys who swing the bat really hard. If you look at all three have high exit velocities. Last year they had multiple home runs, and that's what's going to get you to the top of this list.
Yeah, I mean, all three of these guys, absolute monster exit velocities. When these guys are up, it sounds a little bit different when the ball comes off the bat. These balls are absolutely crushed. If you were here on Saturday, all three of these guys hit balls that nobody wanted to be in front of, that were absolutely crushed. I think certainly the top three youth hitters, in my opinion. We can argue about the order, but I think these three, easily the top three. Bernie, these next three hitters, all three, we agree, are in the top 10. Again, different ordered, but Owen Haines, Neifert Kabarkis, and Cooper Woolen were top 10 for all three of us. Bernie, these three guys, Haines, Woolen, and Kabarkis, I think you got varying levels of longevity. I think you got varying levels of upside here. But again, I think very easy to say top three. What do you think about these three, Bernie? Who's the most interesting for you in 2025?
Yeah, I think the most interesting out of these three, at least for me, is probably going to be Cooper Woolen. Guy who had a very good year last year. I know he's in the top 6 here. I had him ranked a little lower on my list. Not because I necessarily believe in Cooper. He's got a little bit of a slow start. So I'm waiting to see how he bounces back. Right? Can he lead that 12U team, along with Owen Haines?
Yeah, I think all three of these guys, again, Owen Haines probably, I guess maybe him and Neifert are close about how long of a track record they've had. Owen Haines, again, off to an amazing start this year. And again, I think it's fair to say Owen and Neifert maybe off to a hotter start than Cooper Woolen is, but I think all three of these guys certainly in that top 10 discussion. And that's really where the agreement, that's really where the consensus kind of comes to an end. The rest of this list is very different between the three of us. So I want to talk about some of the differences, starting with Landon Portell. KJ, you are the high guy here on Landon Portell, putting him all the way up in the top 5. Me and Bernie around the top 10. Actually, I was wrong. Landon Portell is top 10 for all three of us. So he is another guy who's top 10 for all three of us. But me and Bernie have him at the back of the top 10. You've got him in number 5. KJ, what do you see from Landon Portell? To you, is he a top 5 hitter as we sit here right now, or are you kind of projecting in the future a little bit? What do you think about Landon Portell?
Yeah, I think you can make an argument he's a top fighter right now, but definitely in the next 100 at-bats. You talk about how many guys on this list can hit the ball 400 feet at a 90-mile-an-hour exit velo. There's not many. That's why I think I put him here, a guy who can crush fastballs. He also is one of the best at the age breaking ball hitters I've ever seen. This guy can hit curveballs. You look at his size, obviously he's going to get a lot of curveballs. He can hit those. He's a guy who's not, usually these big, strong power hitters, they strike out a lot. He's not going to strike out a lot. He's good. He's nice and aggressive in the zone, patient when he's out of the zone. He's just a really good all-around hitter.
Yeah, we made these lists without talking to each other while we were making them. I was very surprised to hear I was the low guy on Landon Portell because I believe in this guy. I just thought I had him number 10. I thought the top 9 are maybe a little bit more proven for me, but I love Landon Portell. I think he's got sky is the limit. Obviously, the reigning Rookie of the Year award winner last fall. I think this guy could be a top 5 hitter in the Bears. I'm not ready to put him there yet, but KJ certainly is. Some other guys who are in our consensus ranking around the top 10. Alex Vo was consensus number 7. Hank Schultz, consensus number 9, and Lucas Closer, consensus number 10. I want to talk about our consensus number 11 here in Knox Kennedy. And this is the guy who I have in the top 5 that you guys have a little bit lower. And again, this is purely projecting out to the future. I know that Knox, as we sit here right now, is not a top 5 hitter in the Bears, but I'll tell you what, he has easily the best bat speed on that 12U Floyd team. He hasn't gotten into a ball in the air yet, but I think he's going to hit multiple home runs. We did a bold prediction show either the week before the season or the week right after the season started, and I said Knox Kennedy is going to hit multiple home runs this year. I could see him hitting 5, 6, maybe even in close to 10 home runs this year because of just the pure X velocity this guy's able to generate. I think you two, maybe a little bit more realistic. You guys both had him at 12th. I think that's probably the realistic spot to put him, but I'm shooting for the moon here. I think Knox Kennedy very easily is a top 10 player right now, and I think he could be top 5 by the end of the year. Bernie, a guy that you are higher on than the consensus here is Kenny Douglas. You've got him in the top 10. Me and KJ just outside of the top 10. You've got him 8th. I think this is a guy, Bernie, who really proved in the BWL that he deserves to be in that conversation with Harrison, Rudy, maybe around the same spot as Alex Vo. But this is a guy who may be off to a tad bit of a slow start. The production's not necessarily bad, but it's just not been flashy. He hasn't had any big hits, and maybe that's why me and Kennedy are just outside the top 10 on him. What do you see from Kenny Douglas so far, and what do you expect from him in 2025?
Yeah, a guy who proved in the BWO why he should bat, or at least start the year batting the 3-hole for my squad. And I think that last fall, Kenny, was happy batting 5th or 6th, and taking his walks, kind of being a role player. He's yet to kind of fully embrace being one of the superstars, being the guy who drives in all the runs, being the guy who hits for power. And I think that'll come. I think he's a little timid up there, but as confidence grows in that 3-hole, I think that he's going to prove he's right up there with Alex Vo.
Yeah, I think definitely ceiling-wise, I actually personally think he's got a higher ceiling than Alex Vo. I think maybe Alex is a little bit safer, but I think Kenny has the upside, maybe not quite like Harrison and Rudy, but that type of upside. Maybe the same type of upside that Rudy had back when he joined or when Harrison had 2 years ago. I could see Kenny Douglas having that type of season. Certainly a big believer in him. He was another guy who I was surprised. I believe I was the middle guy on Kenny Douglas. I actually thought I was going to be the high guy on Kenny Douglas. I was surprised to see Bernie, you had him in the top 10. I think he certainly has that kind of potential, though. KJ, another guy you are higher on than the consensus is Owen Weibrecht. You have him right at the number 10 spot. Me and Bernie just outside of the top 10 for Owen Weibrecht. And again, I think certainly off to a really nice start. I've been very impressed by what he's done so far. For me, at least, I ended up, again, surprisingly, I was the low guy on Owen Weibrecht. I like him a lot. I ended up being the low guy on him. I have him around the 15 mark. You have him at 10. What have you seen from Owen Weibrecht? Again, is this kind of what you believe in him right now, or what you project Owen Weibrecht to be in 2 months, 3 months?
Listen, I think what he's doing right now is sustainable because we talk about the 3 stages. When guys come to the Bears, they swing soft and they put the ball in play. Then we kind of get them swinging hard, but they're going to strike out a lot. And then they click and they swing hard and they make a contact. And Owens was gone through the first 2 stages, and he's finally entering that 3rd stage now. We're swinging hard and he's making real hard contact. He was about 1 foot away from putting a home run out the last week we played. This is a guy who's a 5-tool kind of player. He plays great defense. He can even pitch now a little bit. And now he's hitting for power, and he's the fastest guy on the field. So this is a guy who can kind of do everything, and a guy you definitely want your name attached to.
Yeah, I think defensively, obviously, he's always going to have a job because of how good he is at shortstop. But I think if he brings the bat, I could very easily see him being a top 5 hitter on that Floyd squad. So we'll see. We'll see with Owen Weibrecht. I think I want to see him do it for a little bit longer before I move him closer to the top 10. But I definitely can see the potential for Owen Weibrecht. Bernie, I've got 6 names here who are all kind of around 20th for all of us. I think the lowest ranked guy for any of us here is 22nd. But this is our consensus, the rest of our top 20. Braden Young, Quentin Choate, Colby Lair, Parker Kugler, Owen Lewis, Hamilton Case, and Ben Bonchek. I think really all 6 of these guys off to good starts. All 7 of these guys off to good starts for the year. Who's maybe the most surprising to you? Maybe you didn't think he was going to be top 20 when you ranked him, but now looking at the names, you put him in the top 20. Again, that's Braden Young, Quentin Choate, Colby Lair, Parker Kugler, Owen Lewis, Hamilton Case, and Ben Bonchek. Bernie, what do you think about those 7 names?
Yeah, I'll roll with Parker Kugler, a guy who, I think I liked from the start, but I don't think he necessarily played a lot with Rob last fall. Had a really good offseason, though, and I think he's had limited opportunities to perform really well, and I think you're going to see this guy's role expand on that 12V Floyd squad. And when that role expands, he could easily be above 17 on this list for me down the road.
Yeah, I think very easily, sky's the limit. I'm a huge Parker Kugler fan. I thought I'd be the high guy on Parker Kugler. I am the high guy on Parker Kugler. I have him up at 15th, which, again, maybe a little aggressive, but I wanted to be aggressive on my list with the guys I believe in, and I very much believe in Parker Kugler. For me, a guy who I put this guy at 13. All 7 of these guys, by the way, are in between 13 and 22 on all 3 of our lists. So, again, squabbling at the order, but we all kind of agree they're in the same range. I put Braden Young at number 13, and honestly, I wanted to put him higher. I mean, there's some guys in front of him who I thought maybe a little bit longer track record, but I have bought in all the way to Braden Young. I was already starting to do it, and then this Saturday, the scrimmage we had bought me all the way in. Braden Young was on my team. He was an absolute beast. I thought he was easily the third best hitter, if not the second best hitter, on my team on Saturday in the scrimmage. I think this guy's going to have a monster year. I put him at 13th. I ended up being the high guy on him, and I think he could very easily be in the top 10 as we move forward. All right, let's move into the guys outside of our consensus top 20, and I'm going to go right back to you, KJ, here with a guy who you are higher than consensus on. You have this guy inside the top 20. That's Christian Jenkins. I think this guy, again, we talk about his clutch factor, we talk about his mentality, but you've got him inside the top 20 here. Me and Bernie just outside of the top 20. What do you think about Christian Jenkins? What have you seen from him so far?
Yeah, I think this guy is not off to maybe the start he's wanted, but this guy's kind of proven to me he's willing to work, and he's proven to me that he's willing. He's on this kind of path. This guy, it seems like every weekend he's getting closer and closer and closer. He's kind of in those stages of he swung soft and he was swinging hard, and he's starting to make contact here, swinging hard. And this is a guy, like you said, he's got that dog mentality. He's a guy you always know you're going to get 120% out of every single at bat, and I think that kind of intent, that kind of attitude is going to lead to real good things for him.
Yeah, I could definitely see the ceiling there. I mean, he's got the right mentality that you want. If he could add some power to his game, I think I could very easily make the case for him to be a top 20 hitter. But I'd like to see him do that before I move him that high. Along with Christian Jenkins, the rest of the guys here, KJ, I'm going to go back to you in between, I believe, 19 to 34 from us. So all these guys in the same range. This is our consensus top 30 here. It's Rowan Damschroeder, Wheaton Hainline, Carson Griffith, Connor Kennedy, Fletcher Chastain, Jacob Lowry, Chase Sutherland, Ben Chartrand, and Cale Taylor. Who's the most interesting for you here, KJ? Some guys maybe you were surprised you ended up putting this high. Some guys who are off to great starts. Who's the most interesting in that list?
Yeah, someone who I think, is definitely swayed my opinion on him. If you were to make me do this list last year, I don't even know if this guy would have been on it. But this year, I'm the high guy on him. He's inside my top 20. That's Wheaton Hainline. This guy is taking a whole different approach here. He is swinging hard, and he's making hard contact. I never seen this guy play that much. I saw him a little bit in BWL, and he wasn't great. He was a little bit passive BWL. I've seen this guy play lately, and he is swinging hard, and he's making hard, loud contact. He's adding extra base hits to his game. He has totally swayed my opinion on him. I knew he was an amazing pitcher. I know he's a good first baseman, and he's becoming a legit hitter.
I told you I wanted to make sure I was the high guy on all the guys I believe in. I put Wheaton Hainline at 22. I thought I was going to be the high guy on him. You ended up putting him at 19, just above me, but I agree. I think Wheaton has completely changed his game. I think he's a brand new player, and I could see him having a monster year as we move into 2025. All right, let's move into outside of the consensus top 30 here. Bernie, I want to ask you about a player. He is 28 for you. You're the high guy on him. That's Madden Hammontree. He's consensus 32nd for all three of us, but you've got him at 28. What have you seen from Madden Hammontree? I think he hasn't necessarily done anything in the games yet that has really got him into that ranking. All three of us have him in the top 35. What have you seen from Madden that makes you real confident in him being good in the future?
Yeah, like you said, this guy looks great outside of the game so far. I was watching him Fruition today before our Thursday practice, and he was hitting the absolute, out of the ball. He was hitting the ball really hard. This guy, I think, looks good defensively in practice as well. Just got to put together, man. I think that comes with some reps, and once he does, I think he'd easily be, one of the better players in that 14 squad.
A guy for me that I am the high guy on here inside my top 30 is J.R. Welty. I think this guy, sky's the limit. I could see him. The way I feel about Braden Young right now is the way I feel like J.R. Welty is going to feel next year. That's how I'm going to feel about J.R. Welty next year. So where did I have Braden Young? 13th. I could see myself having J.R. Welty 13th at this time in 2026. I believe in everything there. Everything that I've seen from J.R. Welty makes me feel like he's going to be a future superstar. Not there yet. Again, I wanted to be aggressive with the guys I believe in. He's probably not a top 30 hitter right now, but I think in 100 at-bats, he will be in that top 30. Big fan of J.R. Welty. KJ, for you, a guy, you are the high guy. You got him all the way up here at 25. You are the high guy on James Allison. Joined the Bears 3-4 months ago. He hasn't been here very long, but certainly has made an impact when he's been here. Defensively, he is a lockdown corner infielder, and offensively, I think we've seen some signs that he's starting to buy into the Bears' approach. KJ, I know we haven't seen James Allison long, but you certainly have already bought into. What do you think about James Allison?
Yeah, again, this is not a guy I really have seen that much. I watched this last practice, and like you said, this guy's automatic at third base. And to find a third baseman that's fields the ball 60% of the time is good at this age. I mean, I didn't see this guy make an error the other night. He was fielding everything. He's my kind of player. He's big. He's strong. Every time I ask JB about him, all he says is this guy hits the ball hard. And, obviously that's my kind of thing. And so a guy who looks like that, a guy who has that mentality, he works hard in practice. Sky's the limit for this kid. The next 100 at-bats, definitely I'm high on him.
Other than those three guys, some other guys in our consensus top 36, Matthew Hume, Carson Warner, and Benny Wanner, all in our top 36 consensus. A guy right outside the top 35, he actually is 33rd for me, but fell just outside of our consensus top 35, was Brooks Biddle. This is a guy who I think is off to a great start. Again, I think he's been a Bear for a long time. I think he's kind of been on this trajectory since he joined, and I think he's starting to put it all together this year. I could easily see him being in the top 30 going into this year. KJ, you're the high guy on Fitz Dotson. I think the only thing he hasn't done yet is prove it on the field with the top team. Other than that, I mean, crushes the ball in the cage. Work ethic's very good. And Bernie, you are the high guy on Zane Hall. You've got him right inside your top 40, right around your top 40. This is a guy who I think defensively, pitching, offense, I think the ceiling is there for sure. The question is how low is the floor? Can he really put it all together where he can be a contributor on the top team? I want to talk about a couple guys here inside or just outside the top 40, between 41 and 50. Some of the guys who each of us are high on. I'm going to go ahead and start with you, Bernie, on Owen Clark. This is a guy who, athletic, super athletic. In the cage, I think, has a lot of potential, but maybe hasn't shown it yet in the games. Maybe a little bit too passive. I know he's got a really good on-base percentage, but maybe overly passive so far. What do you think about Owen Clark and his potential in 2025, Bernie?
Yeah, like you said, Owen Clark has shown some flashes in the cage. But with his in-game at-bats, there's been some counts, man, where he's gotten to 3-2 and ended up walking on 6 pitches. But, he took those 2 strikes, right? He had 2 opportunities to go up there and hit a ball hard, and he just didn't take them. And I think that comes with, taking more reps here, being with the Bears longer. I think he'll get in the right mentality. Like you said, this kid's an athlete. I think he's a good player.
Colby Howard is a guy who I am the highest on. I actually have him inside my top 40. Again, is he a top 40 hitter right now? Probably not, but I wanted to be aggressive and get the guys I believe in. Honestly, it's just been like the last 4 or 5 weeks that I've really started to buy into Colby Howard, but he has very quickly rose up my personal rankings. KJ, a guy for you that you are the high man on. You've got him all the way up at 41. He's our consensus 49th, so just inside the top 50. You've got him at 41, KJ. That's Brock Gravino. This is a guy who, again, I think we all like as a kid. We all like his work ethic, but he hasn't necessarily done anything yet on the field to kind of prove it. What makes you think he's going to do a lot of stuff on the field in 2025?
Yeah, I think this is a guy who really wants it. I thought his work ethic this offseason, he's one of those guys, he sees the top team and he's trying to work like the top team works, and he works really hard. I think he's getting the most out of what he's got right now. At this part of the list, I'm looking for, who's got that great work ethic, and I think Brock Gravino does have that. I saw him past weekend in that scrimmage. He had a shot, and stuff like that. A guy who I can take in. He has a potential to hit a shot. He's got great work ethic. I think that's why I kind of put Brock Gravino in there.
Yeah, 100%. I think Brock certainly has that kind of ceiling. But again, I think the big thing for him is just finding it on the field. Obviously, when we do prospect rankings, Brock is I believe, top 30, top 25 prospect. When we do prospect rankings, it's all about what they could be. But eventually, you got to show it on the field. Brock hasn't had nearly enough time to where there's any pressure on him yet. But I would like to see him start doing stuff before I move him into my personal top 40. That's going to do it for this episode of the Bears Baseball Network. Hopefully, we do get some baseball this weekend, and we get to see these top 50 hitters in full live action. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Bears Baseball Network, and we'll talk to y'all next week.